Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of OK Takes. Edward and I will provide you with some really awful takes and some really great takes that'll even out to just okay. As of right now, 10:22 p.m. West Coast time, Max Scherzer is still a National, and Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, and Craig Kimbrell are still on the Cubs. So Edward and I are going to talk a bunch of trade deadline, and then we're going to dive into the past two games against the Giants. We are now 2 games behind them, looking to make it 1 game back tomorrow. And we're going to end the show with some U.S. men's hanging dong on Iran to end the show that we recorded earlier today. So it is here. I'm okay without the trade deadline. Like, I'm kind of tired of trade deadline. If I'm going to be honest, if this is a free space, non-judgmental, I'm okay with I'm out on the trade deadline.
This is a very judgmental space. I love the trade deadline. I live for this kind of stuff. Honestly, I love the rumors. I love the advanced stages of talks, tweets that come out like twice a day. Like, I live for this kind of stuff because it gets me on the edge of my seat. And then eventually when nothing happens, it's like, damn. But just that moment of like seeing a notification, the Dodgers are in advanced stages of talks with Max Scherzer. I'm like, holy shit. I live for those holy shit moments.
See, for me, I think I'm putting people like you and others in the same category of praying that like Kendrick and J. Cole are still going to drop an album.
No, that's not fair because we've seen the Dodgers make trades. We've seen big deadline deals over the last few years. It's not like no trades ever happen at trade deadlines. Big trades happen at trade deadlines a lot.
I still think I'm still going to put you. So I guess we're at each other's throats to start the show. But all right, so I don't have, because I'm anti-trade deadline, the only thing I really have a strong opinion on is I love fake Twitter accounts, like fake reporter parody accounts. It's the best thing in the world.
It's the best. See, that's another positive, great reason to love the trade deadline, dude. You get all the Twitter trolls that have sources, dude, trust me, and post. They know this guy's cousin walks Andrew Friedman's brother's dog and heard that Scherzer will be a Dodger. Dude, you gotta love it.
I love it, but I gotta be honest. Hand up, I got duped. So bad. It was really bad. So I'm at physical therapy for my knee. I'm icing, scrolling through the timeline, and I come across a tweet, and I can't believe I really did this, but it comes from the Twitter account Dixie Normous.
Oh, no.
I think he's the cousin of Hugh Janus.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's the Drewski, like, hand up, you got me.
It's Mike Hawk's brother.
Dude. But this was bad. So, like, I saw him, a tweet related to Scherzer, like, because that's why I think I'm just mad. I'm mad that, like, I saw a tweet saying, like, talks between Max Scherzer and the Dodgers are intensifying. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I'm looking around, like, dude, why isn't anybody talking about this? Like, they had ESPN on the TVs. Like, why is nothing happening? I go to click on his account, and this is what it says. MLB Insider, writer for xvideos.com.
Oh my goodness. I understand why you're mad now, why you're cynical towards trade deadlines.
Dude, he literally looks like every Syracuse grad ever that has ever existed. So he got me. I got. My only opinion on, like, as far as, like, because I'll let you handle most of the bulk of the conversation for trade deadline, but I have an idea, because that's right now we're at the battle of who should we trade away, Kyber Ruiz or Diego Cartaya. I think that we should just have them do a most dangerous game. That's really my main take of it. Like, that's pretty much like the either or. So yeah, let's just make them hunt each other.
Yeah, winner or whoever is alive at the end of it stays on the team.
Mm-hmm. Then now I want you to actually give some legitimate opinions and things that are factual, not based on Dixie Normous, exclusive writer for copy editor for the well-known xvideos.com.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been one of those weeks so far where it's been a lot of this team is talking with this team about this player, and not much is formulated. We saw the Joey Gallo trade. Obviously, doesn't impact the Dodgers at all, but MLB Network's John Morosi, not Dixie Normous, has said that it's kind of a 3-team race for Max Scherzer. It's the Giants, it's the Padres, and it's the Dodgers. So it's the closest division in the National League, and the top 3 teams are all trying to get a 3-time Cy Young Award winner. And I talked to Matt, to you, about this morning. For the Dodgers, starting pitching is not much of a necessity. Like, Max Scherzer is not a necessity as it is like a want, so that we can keep him away from San Francisco and San Diego. That's how I look at it. If I'm Friedman and I'm the Dodgers, I look at this team and I think that they need bench bats, quality bench bats, and bullpen help. Now, we'll get to the bullpen the last few games later. Maybe I'm in over my head, but a guy like Craig Kimbrell from the Cubs. John Morosi also said we were talking to the Cubs about Kimbrell. And a guy like Josh Harrison from the Nationals is an available bench bat that I think would really help this lineup. And if we could get Scherzer and Harrison in the same deal, that would be great. The reports today where Scherzer deal was expected to be finalized tonight, July 28th. That's not happening yet. Could be early 29th, the day this podcast releases. Scherzer could be somewhere. But I'll let you give your thoughts, but I just kind of look at it as like the Dodgers should get Scherzer strictly to keep him off of San Diego and San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, I think I really like, and that's not a take. Maybe I've just been missing it, but I haven't heard that take being thrown around that much, and I like that idea. The reason why I'm really hesitant is because of how things have worked out in the past. We saw Darvish, we saw Machado, and then we've also seen the big trade with the Red Sox. So because of our past, it makes me really apprehensive to pulling a big move. But if you ask me, do you want Craig Kimbrell? Fuck yes. It's like, do you want Max Scherzer? Fuck yes. Okay, it's that simple. But that's just the only thing, is that I'm letting past trauma affect current decisions.
Yeah, and I mean, that's completely fair. But to give Andrew Friedman credit, the last big trade he made, he won the World Series. Exactly. Because of that trade, the Mookie Betts trade. But Scherzer's not in. He's in a contract year right now. There's no guarantee that he re-signs like Betts. I mean, when the Dodgers made that trade, it wasn't a guarantee that Betts was going to re-sign. But I always knew that I didn't think Andrew Friedman would give up as much as he did to get Betts without kind of like a guarantee from Betts that he was going to stay. And I honestly think it's going to be the same thing. If the Dodgers get Scherzer, it's going to be because he talked to Scott Boras, and Scott Boras said Scherzer wants to re-sign in LA. Yeah. So I understand your concerns about the Darvish and Machado thing, but I kind of am putting my chips in Freeman's. I'm on Freeman's side on this one. Like I got to ride with the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at, and everything could change by the time either you're hearing this or the podcast is released.
Yeah,
so that's a big
and I mean, yeah, Scherzer could be a Giant by tomorrow, and none of this matters, and now we move our sights to Craig Kimbrell, or Scherzer could be a Dodger, and the Dodgers could have possibly the best rotation we've ever seen.
Exactly. All right, so now let's move on to some actual Dodgers-Giants talk. So, once again, classic example of, if you ask me how I'm feeling yesterday, I blogged about it fucking sucked. That whole game was insidious. The Dodgers lost 2-1 and no offense whatsoever. And it was an ugly game. You ask me tonight how I'm feeling, I would say Cody Bellinger is about to become the hottest hitter on the face of the earth.
I hope.
So, Cody had a big... and it's honestly crazy the way baseball works. And it's just... I think this is a classic example of just baseball. The Dodgers score 5 runs in the previous 29 innings leading up to the third inning. So it's 3. So from the 3 games previous in the first 2 innings, third inning comes and then boom, there's 4 runs. And it's just classic guys hitting with runners in scoring position. So Turner had a nice ball down the line. And then that's leading up to the Will Smith triple. And then from there, it just kept on going and going. So it's just weird. I don't know. This is, I think, I think I'm really close. I'm always like, boom. I'm always like immediate to say, offense sucks. We can't do anything. And then you look at today and you're like, okay, we went 4 for 14 with runners in scoring position, and we left 8 on base. So it's like, wow, we still have a lot. Like, there are still guys out there. Like, this could easily be a 10-run game, even though it ended at 8-0.
Yeah, I mean, you can't win games if you don't score runs, just as much as you can't win games if you give up a lot of runs.
That's, wow. Hot take.
like
you are
big
the
brain.
Baseball.
Like,
you're the baseball version of Booker McFarland.
I mean, like, it's a simple concept, but it's something that I think is so simple that people kind of overlook it. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Like, you can't have one without the other. You can't score one run and expect to win. You know what I mean? Like, but if your pitching is dominant, like Walker Buehler today, you can. But then you can't, like, if you give up, let's say your pitcher comes in and gives up 3 runs, I think you'd consider that an average start. For a guy like Walker Buehler, that's not great, but that's not bad. If your pitcher comes out, only gives up 3 runs, but you only score 1 or 2, I'm sorry. Sure, the pitching could have been better, but you can't expect to win with scoring 2 runs.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot win a base. Most of the time, you cannot win a game scoring 2 runs.
Exactly. And let's be honest, what the Dodgers did, they either had Noisy in a lineup or Luke Raley within those 3 games. So you're waving the white flag already before the game starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why, looking back now, and I'll have to see how it goes along the week, but I don't want to I probably shouldn't put too much stock into those 3 games. And then you also look at injuries. No Seager, no Mookie. So, I feel
although Seager and Mookie could be back this weekend, according to Dave Roberts.
Exactly. So another good example of why I shouldn't put too much brain power and roommate over it.
Yeah, I mean, once we get Billy McKinney and Luke Raley and Sheldon Noisy out of our everyday lineup, I think, and if we pull some deadline deals we're rumored to be involved in, I think that this division could end up being a runaway.
Dude, there's still 2 whole ass months and some change left. Like, the Dodgers are literally from tomorrow hoping they win. We'll know by 3:00. But the Dodgers could be 1 game back, and that's all it takes is one lump of a 178 game win streak, and then Giants dropping 3 of 5, 2 of 6, and then that's all it takes for the Dodgers to be in first place by 4 games. So I think I'm starting to get to the point of, I'm in a danger. Actually, I talked myself into a very dangerous territory. I think the Dodgers are going to be in first place at the end of August. Fuck.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. I said the Dodgers would be in first place by the deadline, by the All-Star break. That didn't happen because Mookie re-aggravated an injury. Seager got hurt. I think someone else, Kershaw, got hurt right before that happened. I'm fully in your camp on this one. We will be in first place by the end of August, and I think we'll be in first place by 4 or more games by the end of August. I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's nothing but positive vibes right now. We're still riding the high of the game. So, we're not completely sober yet.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to say one thing. If you follow me on Twitter, which you should, you saw me say this. Where is Walker Buehler's Cy Young Award respect? Like, where is it? He's allowed 13 runs over 10 starts. Shout out to you for giving me this stat. He's allowed.
Shout out to Eric Steven from True Blue LA, which I call him.
He's allowed 0 or 1 run 9 times this season. His ERA is 2.19, which is 2nd in the National League, and I believe 4th overall. I don't see how this guy can't be an Cy Young finalist. He should be. 2.19 ERA. Like what? Oh my God. I have a man crush on Walker Buehler. I'm declaring it right now.
No, he is the thread that's holding the Dodgers together.
It's him, Chris Taylor, and AJ Pollock are the 3 guys holding this team up right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I'm feeling good about Dodgers. Buehler dominated. We didn't dive too much into about that, but future episode we'll definitely do a much more Bueller heavy. And happy birthday to him as well.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Walker.
Big 2-7. All right. So that will wrap up the Dodgers talk. And like I said earlier, we are going to go back in time to Iran versus the U.S. and the U.S. hanging dong on them. So, all right, that was it. See you guys soon. Okay, now it's time to end the show with some Olympics talk. And I just gotta be honest, the Olympics are so bad, and it's primarily because NBC has turned into the copyright Nazis, and now we don't have any screenshots from it.
Yeah.
Are you as pissed off as I am?
I mean, yeah, because I've gone through this with Netflix, trying to screenshot stuff from like that 70s show and shows that I watch on there, and it doesn't let me do it. It just comes out black, so it's like NBC's falling into the Netflix trap, and it's not cool.
Mm-hmm. And they've done this for the whole entire Olympics, and it makes me realize that they don't even know that Twitter exists. Besides their own account, like, do they have any ideas about the power of SpongeBob memes? Because, like, last night I wanted to screenshot a picture of Katie's face because he has hilarious faces. He has the face of an like similar to an Eminem, where Eminem tells a joke, nobody laughs. Somebody copies the same joke and tells it, and everybody is like laughing until they're pretty much dying and pissing in their pants. He just has a great resting bitch face, and I wanted to use that, but I can't because when you try to screenshot, like you just mentioned, it blacks out. So now it's like, fuck the Olympics. I don't even understand the point of watching basketball and watching sports if there aren't memes associated with it. If, like, there's no conversation on Twitter, so it's really boring. Like, what would the finals be without the Bobby Portis Squidward meme?
Yeah, that's a good point because, I mean, like, almost every sporting event produces a ton of memes. And, like, especially, like, you know, the J.R. Smith calling a timeout when they didn't have a timeout. Like, the amount of memes that came from that was insane. So it's like, you know, you honestly, you can't have one without the other. Like, if you have a big sporting event, you're going to have memes. And I think NBC doesn't realize that.
Yeah, because at this point, if there's not like 5 to 10 pictures from SpongeBob episodes relating to a previous game that just played, did it really happen? Like, it is the epitome of if a tree fell in a forest and nobody heard it, did it really fall? So the Olympics are pretty bad, but it's hilarious because I've become such a fair weather fan where it's like Simone Biles says she's struggling with her mental health issues. The pressure is really too much for her, and she needs to just do what's best for her. And I'm like, you know what? That's right. Fist up. You don't have to do anything that people want you to do. I'm on your side. Like, you have no pressure to actually, you have a lot of pressure, but it's like, from me personally, you don't have to do anything. I don't care what you do. Like, whatever makes you happy, that's where I'm at. So, yeah, so it's like, fuck the Olympics. Like, look what they're doing to one of our best athletes and the state of mind of a 24-year-old, for Christ's sake. But as soon as USA murders Iran 102-68 or 102-66, I'm full Rex Kwon Do mode. Like, my soul is the outfit of Jules Santana when he was just draped in American flags, like even the American flag bandana. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, nothing's better than seeing, like, Katie Ledecky beating, like, 17-year-olds from, like, Hungary in a 1,500-meter freestyle race. She's, like, 2 minutes ahead. She's going down one way, and there's still swimmers coming the other way. Like, it's like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Now I am in full, like, break the wrist, walk away mode. So... all right, so let's talk some actual the U.S. game against Iran. Like I just mentioned, killed them by over 40 or almost 40 points. And I have a favorite player of the playoffs. He's not on the U.S. It is Hamed Hadaddi out of Iran.
Yeah, former NBA player. Grizzlies, I think, yeah.
Yeah, played for the Grizzlies for 4 years, played for the Suns in the early 2010s. And this is another guy. It's just the epitome of so out of shape. A guy who's just hasn't had it for years, has good 5 minutes in the tank, and then after that, just sum me out. Like, he's the guy to, like, when he's really tired, just fakes an ankle sprain.
Yeah, I mean, there was a play in the game where he was backing down. I can't remember who it was. It was late in the shot clock. He was close to the 3-point line. He had to just throw up a turnaround jumper, and it was like a complete air ball. And my brain immediately went to, he is Iran's Brooke Lopez. Like, less athletic, obviously, because, I mean, we've seen Brooke Lopez throw it down, you know, in the finals and whatnot. But for some reason, I just associated him with Brooke Lopez. I loved it.
Yeah. He was Kevin James in the grown-ups in the last game, where every time he goes down, he flies down the court, he immediately either goes into the post or sets a screen at the top of the key. Yeah. He's not going to go down on the low block and then make his way up. Why would you do that? I'm not going to waste 15 feet of running. Like, I'm not going to waste 30 feet of running.
It's like,
I got to save this energy.
It's like him and the other guy who, like, eats the cannoli during the timeout, how they, like, fake injuries to get off the court. That's how I imagine it would be for him.
Exactly. So I didn't have, like, that many crazy takeaways, because let's be honest, this team couldn't beat an average D3 squad in America.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we all expected to happen. I mean, we all expected it. Damian Lillard, I mean, he only made threes all game. He was 7 for 13 from 3, 7 for 15 overall. And, I mean, I still want more from Durant. 10 points, 4 for 8 shooting. Like, what? Like, I want to see him get involved more.
I have a great card to pull when it comes to Durant not being good. Jet lag. I'm going to keep on pulling the jet lag for the entire playoffs. Even though he's not the only one dealing with jet lag, even though every single person who is not living in Japan and not living in Asia is dealing with a ton, or depending on where in Asia, but is dealing with a fuck ton of jet lag. But for him, I'll make the exception. Like, me personally, I go an hour away. Like, I went to Sheridan, Wyoming this summer. That hour threw me off for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So I'm just going to pull that card very quickly and throughout the entire playoffs. But let's be honest. Let's look. I mean, it's just hilarious when you look back at the stats, because they were dominating the whole game. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention quick stat for Ahmed Hadaddi, which is why I was like, this guy's a beast. So the U.S. was actually they were going back and forth. So it was 12-9 with 5 minutes left. And during the first 7 minutes of the game, Hadaddi had 6 points and 2 blocks. You're like, holy shit, this guy's doing something. And then the game goes on, and from there it was just bad. But this is just hilarious. So the U.S. had 10 blocks, Iran had 1. The U.S. had 10 steals, Iran had 3.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we expected from this team, and that's what I expected against France, even though France has more NBA players than, honestly, probably a lot of the teams in this Olympic tournament. I expected the U.S. to out-hustle every team, to outshoot every team, to out-rebound, out-block, I just expected them to outplay every team. And they didn't do it against France. It's fine. They did it against Iran, but I want to see it against a better team than this.
Because a big part of why the 3-point numbers went up is because the ball movement is great, but then you have to dig deeper and keep on pulling the ball of yarn, and you're like, oh, the reason why they're open is because they're faster, and Iran just simply isn't athletic enough to keep up with them. Mm-hmm. So the U.S. was literally running circles, and because they were so much quicker and so much more explosive, they were able to get whatever shots they wanted for the most part. And they still were really good from 3, so that changed as well. Like, this game, the U.S. shot 19 of 39 for 48%. Last game, they shot 8 of 27 for 29%. So obviously, 20% increase in threes. Yeah, that's going to be that played a big factor. But I'm just worried about when they play a team, because they play on opposite sides of the spectrum, where obviously France is one of the tougher teams. Iran is dog shit. So I want to see what it's like in the middle. Like, at least heading forward, that's what I want to see when it comes to a team that's kind of right in the middle-ish or leaning closer to France. Like, are they going to be able to get the same ball movement when guys are actually could have the potential of running like a 4-4-40?
Yeah, I'd like to see them play Nigeria again. You know, Nigeria beat the U.S. in a warm-up, exhibition type game. I'd like to see how those two teams fare against each other in a legitimate setting like this.
Exactly. So for the most part, I'm happy with where the U.S. is at. Like I said earlier, full Rex Kwon Do mode. And that'll be wrapping up episode 11. Crazy, 11 episodes in.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We're getting there. We're on our horse.
Yeah. Only 4,000 away from Joe Rogan. All right, so that'll mark the end, like I just said, of episode 11. So, time for the good old plugins. You can follow myself on social media at MattWeiner20 for on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow Edward on Instagram and Twitter at Edward_Vento. But who gives a flying fuck what we have to say? Just follow the OK Takes account. There's actually been some bangers. We have put out some big, fat bangers. So you can find that on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at OK Takes Pod. That is OKAY Takes Pod. Follow us there for all sports updates and clips from the show. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.